Hello, everyone, and welcome to our webinar today, the Teacher Reset, 5 ways to refresh, recharge, and reignite your joy. It's actually 7 ways today. We threw a couple extras in. Also, 2 more opportunities, making 7 altogether for some great giveaways. So stay with us throughout this webinar for some great prizes that could potentially be yours. I will show you exactly how to go about registering or entering for those and explain that as we go. But with that in mind, we are going to get started here. So there will be a recording of this webinar for future use if you want that or see need for that. So that'll be sent your way shortly after today. Then we also have the resources today. There's no hyperdoc. If you attend with us in the past, there's sometimes a hyperdoc. This one is just a QR code, which is going to get you entered into those drawings today. So, but you will, of course, have that recording and access to the presentation, which will be sent your way, like I said, shortly following. And we also have joining us today, Robin. Robin, do you want to say hi?
Hi, everybody. Happy summer. Thanks for joining us today.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, happy summer for sure. And Robin is there to help with the behind the scenes things that may come up as we go about our half hour together today. So I first want to give a shout out to our sponsor today, Science on the Grand, a STEAM conference for educators in K-8 that really helps educators really fuel their passion and find or I should say maybe rekindle that fire that they once had. And if it's lost, we can help you refine or find it again. But if it's still there, we will help encourage it, build it, and make it even bigger, because that's what we love to do. So Science on the Grand is a conference this July 14th and 15th in Grand Rapids. And if you would like to join us for that, you can register using code THANK-U and you'll save 20% on registration. So we really hope you can be a part of that fun alongside of us. So go back here. With that. Oh, and I clicked on it. When you click on it, it should look like that, and it'll actually take you to the conference details. So that's a little bonus there. Back here. All right. So here's our schedule. We're going to pop up 7 ideas today that hopefully will help you to kind of figure out how to go about relaxing this summer. We'll break them all down. The first one being just to romance the ordinary. So reframing the mundane as something magical. Sometimes we forget how nice simplicity is. And so this is just a reminder to remember to hold on to those ordinary moments and try to make the most of them. And really, some of that comes with just having like the hush of morning coffee, the sunlight that comes in, hits our desk, right? It's reminding like how wonderful that is. Or just a quiet walk outside with music. That's really nice as well. And so just reminding ourselves to pay attention to those moments and slow down and give them, the spotlight that they deserve, because they really do deserve a highlight when we have them come up and see them. And then just shifting the lens from getting through it to looking for it. So maybe instead of just racing through our days, we so typically do in the teacher in our during our school year, we have to feel, we kind of feel like we have to do that. Really just slowing down and just finding the things that are worth smiling about. This could be the summer air, the feel of cool sheets, and that's what romancing the ordinary is all about. And it really starts with just paying attention to those little things in life that really make a big impact. And so the first giveaway that we have today is for a Starbucks coffee gift card, or whatever you love at Starbucks. But just thinking about those small little things that really make a difference in our lives. And so what you're going to do, 2 ways to enter to win today. You can scan that QR code that you see on screen, or you can go to the bit.ly. If you don't have a phone nearby where you can scan that code, you can go to the bit.ly, and it's bit.ly/giveaways for webinar. If you go there, it's going to open up a Google form, and that Google form will have some questions for you to answer. And the first one we're going to try out today is, let's say a filmmaker was following you around. I know, maybe kind of annoying, but it would be, but just think about that for a moment. What scene would they turn into a slow motion, soft music moment? So just thinking through your life, all the simple things that happen, what would that filmmaker capture? You just write a quick response in that Google form. Number 1, you'll see that as you pull that up. And so I'll give everyone a moment to do that. What would that scene be? Maybe it's some of those things you mentioned, like just slowing down, out for a walk, right? And just listening to music, noticing those things outside that are beautiful, but maybe we sometimes forget to acknowledge. So go ahead and get that answer typed into the form. I should also say it's a good time for me to mention that we will likely draw for these prizes on Friday. So we give those who may be watching, not right in the moment, but maybe watching the next day or two, a chance to enter as well. And so if you don't finish your answers right away, just keep it open. You can go back and visit those and fill those in. Like I said, I'm hoping to draw those winners on Friday, notifying winners next week. All right, so number 1, romancing the ordinary. Number 2, unpacking your teacher backpack, right? We know that it's sometimes hard to let go of what we don't need to carry into next year. And so thinking about just kind of really reflecting on this past school year, what are some of those things that you want to carry with you into the next school year, but also what are those things you just you're willing and want to let go of? And we know that we carry a lot, right? So we carry a lot physically, emotionally, mentally. Teaching is hard, and there's a lot that goes into that career. So with that in mind, just kind of sorting those things out. So if you were to like think about these things, if you're to really like unpack your teacher backpack, think about these things that are in there, like the drainers, right? It could be that crumpled to-do list, that keeps, we feel like is always regenerating itself. Those sticky notes that are labeled "don't forget," and you shortly realize that every single note is like "don't forget everything." So why do I have the sticky notes to begin with, right? Or the calculator of self-doubt, right? We're constantly saying, "Oh man, should I have done that? Was it worth it? I wish I would have done it this way." We're constantly doubting ourselves, and so are we willing to just drop that, let that go? And think about the amount of emails, like how many emails, if you were to open your inbox right now, how many emails would you have in your school email, right? There's probably a lot, right? So just letting those go, unpacking those. And then the emotional overload, things like, wondering, did I do enough? Should I have done it differently? Maybe you maybe had those conversations at parent-teacher conferences that were just stuck with you. We all have those where we remember the conversation where we were sitting when we had to share news that we thought maybe a parent might not like hearing, but we knew we had to share it anyway. And so there's all these moments that come into our day or that we just kind of throw in our backpack and we don't even know we're carrying that weight. But the summer is all about letting go of that, right? So we can see a lot of other ideas here. Sometimes it's roles and expectations that we take on. You're always wearing a different hat for different things. It could be a counselor one day or 1 second, and then it's a coach, and then it's maybe playing the role of mom or dad to help them figure things out, right? We're wearing all these hats at any given time. And then also within this unpacking your backpack idea is really thinking about, sometimes though there's things that we might want to hold on to, and that's great. So kind of separating that list out in your mind, what are the things you want to leave behind and what are the things that you want to still carry in that. So let's try this out on the Google form. So we'll go again to that Google form. Again, the bit.ly's there, and I know Robin is putting it into the chat too. So if you can't access it, you could also access it from that chat that you have there for you. But this is what we're going to put our ideas around. Imagine your teacher backpack has magical powers. That'd be awesome. When you unzip it, one invisible burden floats out, right? And disappears forever. It's gone. What just escaped from your backpack? So what's that one burden that you wish you could just would float out and would never reappear? Go ahead and write that into the Google form there. I'll give everyone a minute. And I should say the prize for this one is, I don't know if you love them as much as I do, but I know in my teacher backpack there are a lot of these, and so these Papermate Flair pens, awesome. So there is a 12-pack of those coming your way if you are the winner. And I always say how you can never have enough of those, right? So, and that's the ender to win for this question number 2, unpack your teacher backpack. So again, I'll give everyone another couple seconds to fill that one out. All right, let's go into number 3 here. So cocoon time, we could probably guess what this is about, right? But it's more about giving yourself permission. You are allowed to just do nothing. Even as a busy parent during the summer, it's really important that you scope out some time to do just that, to have nothing but you time on the schedule. And however that looks is up to you. We're going to talk a little more to that specific coming up. But just giving yourself permission and to celebrate, just having intentional stillness, being in a moment and letting it be quiet, letting we forget what boredom even feels like, right? What does it feel like to not have to do anything for more than just a second, right? And we know that both of those things are essential for growth and development, intellectually. So do it, right? Just give yourself that time and permission, and don't feel guilty about it. And I know that's easier said than done, but really the only way that we can really find success in that is if we let go of the guilt that comes along with that, and just remembering that you deserve it. You deserve this rest time, and dedicating that dedication to yourself. So schedule a blank space. We'll talk again more to that coming up, but can you do that in your schedule? Can you find just a little bit of time that's open for you and you only? And I like the point there too of just making it, protect it like you would a meeting, a school meeting. We know that we're like, oh, we have to be there at 7:30 in the morning to be at our, for morning meeting for the week. Protect your time for you like that as well. So again, reminder that you are allowed to do nothing. So if you were to give yourself, we're going to fill out again, number 3 here is for the third prize. If you gave yourself a full day of 0 obligations, how would you spend it guilt-free? What are some of the things you would do? And think about all the things that you've wanted to do or you have on. I used to always have this summer to-do list, right? And it would be really long. And then when I revisited it again in August, I realized that I didn't really do all the things I really wanted to do, or maybe I didn't even do a third of them. So really being intentional about finding and preserving that time. And then doing those things. So this gift card, or this prize is a gift card for Amazon. So you can do the things that you want to do, that cocoon time, whatever that may look like. Maybe you want to order a book that you've been longing to read. Again, this gift card will go to a winner for question, or on your form number 3, cocoon time. Go ahead and fill out that response there. If you gave yourself a full day with 0 obligations, how would you spend it guilt-free? I'll give everyone a little bit of time to do that. All right, here we are ready for number 4. Number 4 today is declutter your mental desktop, right? We all know we need to do that probably physically to our computers. I know, at least I do. But how can we take that idea and think about that mentally? So closing all the tabs that we don't need open, archiving all those what ifs, and rebooting our brain so that we're prepared to make space to have those thoughts just kind of subside, or maybe never come back, right? So just think about the clutter that is in your everyday during the school year. It's that, that one lesson you hold on to that may not have went the way you wanted it to, and you're constantly revisiting it in your head like, oh man, I wish I would have done that instead. Well, now you know, right, a better way to do it next time, and that's okay. And think about passwords. I think about this every day. How many passwords do we all have? There has to be a space where we can just let go of that, right? And I say the summer is a perfect opportunity to do that. You don't have to think about it. If it's school related, let it go, put it on hold. Or maybe it's a staff meeting that we all know, we've had these before, right? Where you're like, man, that sure could have been wrapped up in an email. So that's another reason that we need to just like let go of that in our head and just really give ourselves permission to relax. And so another kind of thing to think about, though, the other side of that. So some of that stuff we want to let go of, and let go of for good, like close that tab for good. But some of the other stuff we might want to continue to, we just want to archive because we want to revisit it, right? And so some of those things that we know we can archive with honor and pride is, those thank you notes from our students who maybe they didn't speak very much, but they gave you the end of the year letter that just really made it hard to let them go. Maybe you guys had an inside goofy joke or something that was happening in your classroom that if someone were to say it outside of your space, they wouldn't get it, right? Those are all the things you hold on to. The growth you see in your students, you notice, maybe it happened slowly, or maybe just really noticed it at the end, right? That's why we do what we do, right? Because we get to see that, feel that, and experience that alongside of our students. And again, just those oddities and the uniqueness that make your classroom buzz with joy, you do that. That's on you, and you should be really proud of that. And so honoring that during this time is important as well. And so for this one, I love this book here. It's The Morning Mindset. It's just a nice way to kind of remind ourselves of all those things that keep us in the best headspace. It allows us to declutter, it allows us to script it out on the pages. And then from there, we can decide what we want to do with it. But here's the question, or the prompt for this one. Number 4, your brain just popped open like a computer screen. Tabs are everywhere. What's one mental tab you're dragging to the trash icon, and what's one you're pinning for later because it still brings you joy? So we're looking for one you're just dragging to the trash icon, and we're looking for one you're going to hang on to. So go ahead and write both of those in for number 4. Should say these will just be randomly drawn. So the only person who gets to enjoy your responses really is me, but I'm excited that you guys are playing along and joining in today, because I do think this is really good work and it's necessary work, I think, to really truly decompress for the summer. So again, that bit.ly should be there, and Robin again has it in the chat for you too. And Morning Mindset is the book that the winner will be receiving. And just a little bit of more information about that as well. You will use your email to reach out if you are a winner. So be kind of, I said, declutter your mental desktop, but keep that email open just so you know if you won a prize or not next week. So be on the lookout for that. And then number 5 here is share your highlight reel. So if you had this idea of a reel playing, what would play? Consider that of your past school year. What would be those highlights that are on that reel? And just really remembering that you were the hero in more moments than you even realized, right? So some of the stuff you're being talked about probably right now in the best way by your students who loved you so much. And so I know with my own kids, they're missing school already. It's just the start of summer, but they're missing it already. And I can tell that by the stories they tell me. So sometimes it's easy to forget the wins because we're always constantly focusing on what's next, what's upcoming. But it's really important that we can just kind of look back, kind of remember those moments of laughter, the impact you made, the connections you made, and just know that you were at the core of all of those. And I think that's really, really powerful. One of the wonderful things about being a teacher. Another thing just to remind you of is that, your reel is really a reminder of who you are. So all those scenes that popped up as like those positive things, those are all part of you, and they wouldn't have happened had you not been at the head there. So it really does reveal your passion, your purpose, and the joy that you have in the career that you're doing. And I think that's important to note. Sometimes we have to be reminded of that because it's easy to lose sight of that. So summer is a great time to reflect on that as well. And so let's say that the credits are rolling on your school year documentary. Okay, so what surprise scene made it to the highlight reel? What's one thing you didn't expect to be in that highlight reel, but it appeared? And why would the future you want to rewatch that moment, right? So what made that moment so special? And again, it could be a surprise moment that popped up, or it could be just a single moment that really stands out. If you had to make this highlight reel an actual thing, what would it look like? What's that one scene that you're really holding on to from this past school year? And why was that so special? So I'll give you an opportunity to fill that out in the Google form. And while you all are doing that, there's this awesome, sometimes I think, man, and if you're a parent, you probably think this with your own kids, but I definitely did this sometimes with my students when I would remember to do it. I just never had a place for these to land. But when students said something really great, writing them down, right? So you can refer to them later. And so this is more like a journal, but it's things my students said, and it gives you space to kind of document all those fun things that they say, meaningful things that they say, off the wall things that they say, but a place to keep them all and date them and all that good stuff. So, and who said it, and again, just in book form. So it's really nice, a nice resource to have as a place to keep them all year after year after year. So that journal will be coming your way if you are the winner of prize number 5. So I will give everyone a moment to fill that out. And like I said, there's always those things, right, that you're like, oh man, I can't remember exactly what they said, but it was something like this, right? And you just wish in that moment you would have just taken a second to write it down. So I know I used to use Post-it notes for that, but then of course the Post-it notes never ended up where I wanted them to. And so, 2 and 3 years later, I no longer had them because I'd find a random Post-it note and I'd likely throw it away because I was cleaning up my space, right? And forgot the connection there. So this book is a great way to house all those ideas. And if you don't necessarily get this book, you can kind of make your own, right? It's just having a spot to land those cool, those special things that students do say and share with you. So this next one, might be a harder one because it's having you consider if you could design your ideal day, right? It's going beyond just designing it though, and we'll get there in a moment. But if you could design your ideal day, what would be in that day? And now we know that even our summer days are very limited to what we actually have as, off. So if you could choose, just pick one day, put it on the calendar, say, this is the day. It goes back to that cocoon time, what am I going to do in my day today? And it might involve others, right? But it might not. It might just be a day for you. And so sometimes I think while we're really great at scheduling for others, we're just naturals at it as educators. We're hardly ever good at it for ourselves, right? So just really planning out, whether it's just like, maybe you say, I'm going to do this at, from 8 to 10, I'm going to do this from 10 to 12, or maybe hour by hour. But either way, after you've scoped that all out, considering like how much on there could you actually do, right? And everything you do on that list is a win. So again, this is just your chance to kind of flip that script. You're always planning for others and really planning it for you. How can you work that into your everyday, or excuse me, into one day? It'd be nice every day, but into just one day. And remember that this isn't about productivity necessarily, it's really about pleasure. So what are the things that make you most happy, and how can you include those in that plan for your day? So letting go of being, making it your most efficient day, getting lots of things done in a little amount of time, that's not it at all. Just thinking about what really fills your cup up, how you can restore your joy, your peace, maybe even your curiosity, right? I like going to an art museum. It's always one of my very favorite things. I love doing that, but hardly ever get an opportunity to do that. So what is that for you? And then, of course, if you can't do the whole day, could you, and this is a challenge here, could you do 10% of that? So maybe if you have 10 things kind of scoped out on that, could you at least do one of them? And so we know that you may not get to the whole thing, but you're still making that space and time available for you. So one tiny piece of it you can do now, and then maybe you take that second part to it and do that next week. And hopefully by the time summer's over, you visited all those things on that day throughout the summer in one way or another. So I know for some people, they like just cozying up and reading a book and having a cup of tea. Maybe you like pack your bags and jump in the car and don't have a destination, or maybe you're just like, I'm going to sit on the beach, have my drink and have my cocktail and, have my sunscreen and my towel and just sit there all day. Whatever it is, try to do that thing this summer. And so this is a longer one. So, but consider this, designing your ideal day. Imagine that tomorrow is completely yours, like the actual tomorrow. There's no obligations, you have no guilt associated with it, just space to feel like yourself again. Walk through your day. And again, hour by hour is awesome. Like, what would you do when you woke up until the next hour, right? Really plan it out. And then where would you go? Who would you talk to? What are those things that would then at the end of the day help you wind down? Are you doing those things? And then again, taking one of those things, one of those things, and really doing that. And it doesn't necessarily be tomorrow. It's nice to imagine that it could be tomorrow, but how could you do that either, say, within the next week or so? So think about that, and you can respond in the Google form. It'll be number 6 there. And then that will take you to, and you don't see a picture here of it, but it's just a general gift card. So you can spend it how you see fit within that ideal day. So again, maybe you use it to buy a cup of coffee. Maybe you use it to go to Target, right? However you want to spend that is on you, because it's your day. So the prize for this one is a gift card for that. Give everyone a moment to fill that out. I know it's a longer one. And again, I want to be honor your time. So hopefully we can get these all filled out within our half hour today. So it's not something else you have to do later. And if you do have to do it later or want to do it later, that's totally fine too. Like I said, we won't be drawing for these until Friday. All right, and I said there were 7, so we're getting closer here. 7th one today is just really returning to your why, right? And I think that's so important. It's easy to lose sight of why we got into this thing in the first place, right? Why did we become a teacher? Sometimes with the day-to-day during the school year, it's easy to lose sight of that. So reconnecting to your passion and your purpose really is essential. So how do we do that? And really, it just gets back to thinking about all the ways and all the whys behind why we do what we do. So in that why often gets buried beneath the what, right? Because we know the what is sometimes all the things you have to do, those day-to-day tasks, grading, emails, lockdown drills, all those things that we know that have to happen. And so really, we know though at the core of who we are, the passion doesn't disappear. It's actually just kind of gets pushed aside. And so how can we reignite that this summer? And so summer gives us that chance to like turn that back up and really rediscover that in ourselves. And so thinking about ideas around this, remembering that it doesn't have to be big or noble. It just has to be yours. So whatever your reason is, that's what matters. So maybe it's helping kids feel seen. Maybe it's just sharing your love of science. Maybe it's creating safe spaces that your kids know they can go to. And so whatever that is, it's, again, doesn't have to be big, doesn't have to be noble, but it's really important that it's yours and yours alone. So really kind of figuring that out, honing back into that why, and reconnecting. And so there's lots of ways that we can do that. And it's nice to also think about that sometimes the whys of why we do the things we do and why we're in this thing in the first place can shift. So maybe there was a time when we really loved inspiring creativity in our students, but maybe now it's mentoring new teachers. So how can you do more of that? And maybe it's just kind of reflecting on that shift. That's a positive thing, right? It'll bring clarity to our thinking, and also just fresh energy for the year ahead, right? Like how has your passion shifted? What are some of the things that you didn't think you'd really enjoy? What are they now? And how can you really feed those passions? And also really just thinking about tending to the why, because it will help avoid teacher burnout. And I think, that's a real thing, as we all know, especially the more years we add on to our teaching, we definitely can see how this can happen. And so I like to think of passion as a renewable resource, right? But it's only renewable if we protect it. And so summer gives us a great opportunity to do that, be reminded of the work that we do and why it's important to you. So make a plan on how will you nurture it in this summer. What are you going to do? Maybe read a book. Maybe you listen to a podcast. Maybe you collaborate in some way. Maybe you start a passion project. Maybe you attend a conference that really does feed and fuel your passions for teaching and learning. And so that prize is exactly what you will get by entering for this one, number 7. Think back to a moment this year when you felt most like the teacher you wanted to be. What were you doing? Who were you with? What made that moment truly meaningful to you? And how can you create more moments like that in the year ahead, right? So be forward thinking. By answering that question, you will be entered to win an admission into science on the Grand here in Grand Rapids. So if you're anywhere near us in Michigan, I definitely highly recommend trying to get to this conference. It's 2 days where we really do spoil you with really great content, lots of really great food. We have a happy hour where we celebrate you and have some fun games, and lots and lots and lots of prizes. So there's only 7 given away in this webinar today. There are probably 70 plus given away at the Science on the Grand Conference this summer. So really great prizes too. So you won't want to miss it, but really the core of that conference really does reignite, I think, your love and passion for what you do every single day. So with that, oops, I clicked on that. The second time I did that. That's the form I hope you guys are all into. So with that, here is a little look back. Let me click on here to see if we get, there we go. Okay, so I'll give you a second to enter for that giveaway there. All right. And as I'm going to do it again. I am sorry. As we wind down here, I'm going to stay away from clicking on Science on the Grand. I'm just really excited about it, I guess. So we're going to wrap up today. So hopefully you had a chance to fill out all 7 of those, and it won't stop going to that. So let me click down here. I got a better idea. There we go. That didn't work either. Let's try this one. There we go. That's the ending slide. My apologies there. So I want to say just really short but sweet thank you. I know it takes a lot to do what you do every day. So thank you so much for that energy, that passion, and all you do in giving of your time and love and energy. And so again, there's that Science on the Grand coupon code. If you want to join us this summer, we'd love to see you there. And please, please, please follow us. So you can follow us at VAI Education at any of those social handles you see below. And with that, I will say thank you, everyone, and feel free to, again, if you enter until Friday, if you haven't done so yet, you'll be receiving the recording and the actual slide presentation to come. So thank you, everyone, so much, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your afternoon.